Amber, and today I am demolding one of my element pyramids. This is the water pyramid. I'm really excited because water is my favorite element. To give you a glimpse at the other ones, I started with fire, and something that I learned was to think about how the display of the object will be in other ways. So obviously, just like this, it's fine, and oh look, you can really see the flame when the light goes through it. So I loved experimenting with this. It was my first time trying the mica powder, and I did that part too much. I would like this mica layer to be much shorter, and then I did the gold foil, gold leaf, and the fire layer itself is like really beautiful. So I wish I would have made that layer bigger. Then on the bottom, I tried to create a lava brimstone look, and I used fish pebbles and put them in some black ink and black paint, and put them on the bottom. I've sanded this, that's why it looks that way. To me, the bottoms don't need to look special. So what I didn't think of was that the LED lights from these wonderful lamp displays, the light doesn't get through. So when I actually am using this, I put my fire one on its side. But that's just live and learn kind of a thing. So I love how that came out. The next one I did, and I haven't trimmed this up, so it does still have a little bit of cleanup to do. This is my air element, and I wanted there to be some sky and clouds. There's 2 feathers in there, and that stone floating is a Dalmatian jasper. Why won't it focus? So that's a Dalmatian jasper, which is connected to the air element. And I really love the way this came out. It's covered in bubbles. There's just millions of itty bitty micro bubbles throughout it. I don't think it takes away from it, because as I look at it, it looks fine. Like, I can see what's in there. I have some more details about this one. Did I make a post? I don't remember if I made a post. Anyway, so the 2 tiny feathers, I was trying to use UV resin again, trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, wondering if I just suck at UV resin, which is possible. And I put it on, yeah, it's on Instagram Live, I think. I put the Morning Dove feather, which is the very obvious one, on painter's tape, the blue, easy to rip off tape. Everybody on YouTube, I've watched so many freaking YouTube channels, it's ridiculous. Everybody said, oh, you put it on tape because resin won't stick to tape. You can see, because there is evidence of it, how difficult it was to get this feather off that freaking tape. Wow, this might be my first, first successful UV resin. Not sure if you can even see from there. And it's taken many attempts to get a feather in resin. These, well, maybe because these are very downy feathers, so they're very fluffy. But they mostly turn into, I mean, here's my pile of garbage. They mostly just turn into nothing. All the pretty parts that make it feather looking just clump up. So it looks like this is finally working. Well, I can tell you my work with UV resin has once again failed. I have seen tons and tons of people use painter's tape to do their jewelry, especially like the open back bezels. They're like, oh, you just put it on, you put your bits in, and then it peels right off. Well, this is my second time using UV resin, my second time getting disastrous results. I cannot get this off this tape at all. It's totally cured. So I was going to include this little feather into a project, and now I can't. All right, so eventually I got it because I thought I just wasn't going to be able to use it. The other thing that annoys me though is that I didn't trim it super close because I thought the UV resin would look invisible, but you can see that it kind of looks laminated, which is the same problem that I had with a photo project that I did that was actually laminated. You can see the outline and you can, you know, so it's not exactly perfect. It's not really what I wanted, but if you look at it from the right side, you don't notice that. So if you look at it from if we were to identify this as the front, then it would be fine. But as soon as you go to where the feathers are at the side, you can see them. So anyway, and then also the jasper didn't move much, but it is slightly off center. It doesn't matter to me. I think it's a really cute, adorable stone. It's just this tiny little spotted stone. So it's in there. And then on the bottom, there's silver glitter, which did not sink. I was very happy it didn't sink. It's right up at the very top. So, time to demold my water elements. Okay, all right. So, I did some, not over pour exactly, but what I did on the top here, and the reason that there are really big bubbles is because after an hour, I added the sand layer. After another hour, I went back and checked on it, and the sand was starting to sink, so I pulled it back up. I used a pointy stick and pulled it back up. Then after about, I don't know, 3 hours or so, or 4 hours, I lost count, I went and checked it again, and it was really like when you make candy, if you've ever gotten sugar and water in the pot, and after a while it starts to get so hard to stir. That's what I was dealing with. And because I learned my lesson with this to not have a solid layer at the bottom, originally when I poured the sand, it was just in one corner, so it did wrap around two sides. So I was trying really hard to get the sand off these other sides because it started to move. And also there's an aquamarine in here, which I did not want to have disappear. So I had taken my stick and was, you know, going like that. So I've got a bit of resin around the edge here, just like with the air one. But ooh, come on. I didn't put any mold release in this because I never had a problem getting them out. So now let me take a look. Oh goodness, you cannot see the aquamarine at all. What a shame. It looks exceptionally cool anyway. This was my attempt at waves. I first put in this much and a couple drops, maybe 1 or 2 drops of the sinking white. And then I did the same sort of process. I let it sit there for quite a while and then poked it around to get these pretty swirls. And when that was just about set, then I added the blue layer. And and that's where it stayed for days. And then I used UV resin to glue the aquamarine to this blue layer right in the center so that it wouldn't shift anywhere, and you know, like this one did. But apparently the sand decided to cover it anyway. And this is, all this white is not actually, I mean, I did add a teeny tiny little bit of white coloring, but this is all from me stirring it. And when I was trying to scrape and stir it, it sounded like taffy, or like making caramel or flan. It was making these big popping noises, and that's why there are big huge bubbles back here, which again, it's water, they're supposed to be bubbles. So as it was doing that, I had no idea what it was going to look like. I was just hoping that I would get two sides clear and two sides with sand, and that's not how it worked. So there's my aquamarine. You can see that it's in there somewhere, but it's just not visible. Such a bummer. I don't know, I'll do like some close-ups of this, because you can see that there's something in there. You just can't tell really what it is without looking very, very closely. Oh goodness. So eventually these will get trimmed and cleaned up, but there are definitely things that I like about each one. Like I said, water's my favorite element, so it's hard to not be biased about that. It just, you know, I really, really wanted that aquamarine to show. That was my grandmother's birthstone. So I'm kind of bummed. Okay, so mold just needs a little cleaning around the edges. I'm ready to go with the next one. I love the resin and wood combination, so that's why I started watching a lot of the wood tutorials. Makes me want to get power tools, which I'm not good with. I do use a Dremel though. Anyway, so that's the elements so far. Stay tuned.